Her Journey to Healing, Reaching Women with a Desperate Cry is an 8-week Zoom seminar in which Kamala and Winston help women to start living their best life by rediscovering the image of God in their life. Kamala, a licensed marriage and family therapist, joins her husband of 16 years, an ordained pastor, to marry the clinical and the spiritual. You will begin living your best life filled with love, joy, and peace. Register at kwministries.net for this life-changing seminar.
The thing about that too, the mistake that I make often is try to love Kamala the way I want to be loved. Now, you know that's not love. That's me doing something to get something. I'm going to say it again. When you try to love someone the way you receive love. So for example, if I hear some good news and I get excited, I get really excited. And so if somebody tells me good news, I'm gonna get excited. I'm gonna get excited with that, and then I get mad because they're not getting excited. But that's really selfish. That's not reaching the person where they need to be met, but rather reaching the person where I need to be met in hopes of getting something in return. Mm-hmm.
You know, we in the therapy world like to feel like we know a lot of stuff, right? And so we talk about all kinds of different concepts, and we've done it all along the way. But nothing that we talk about is new as it relates to the Word of God. Here we are talking about how God is coming to get us, how we get to be now physically, not just mentally, a part of something.
Yes, Lord.
And so this was a concept that Maslow talked about a long time ago, love and belonging. He had this great hierarchy of needs, and if you've got safety and security, you've got shelter, you've got all of those things, then once you have that secure foundation, then you can focus on love and belonging. But here it is that God is saying you already belong. You don't have to worry about love and belonging in the way that Maslow talked about it. But the interesting thing is, just in the same way that Maslow identified that love and belonging is something that we need to thrive as human beings, here's where we're saying to you that, yeah, we agree. We do need love and belonging to thrive as human beings. We do need love and belonging to be able to experience care and compassion and empathy and having a place in the world. We do need love and belonging to be part of community. And yes, we're
in the kingdom of God.
So if we're being honest, and I'm hoping we are, we have started by being honest and vulnerable ourselves.
Yes.
And that's kind of the point. If we're honest, all we want to do is be in control.
Yes.
That's all we want. We want to control our relationships. We want to control the outcome of things. We want to know what's coming next. We always want to be in control. The trouble with being in control and having a relationship with God is that the two don't go together. I can't be in control and you can't be in control at the same time.
That's right.
You ever done a tug of war? If we're both pulling, somebody has to win.
Yeah.
Somebody does.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about God is that he gives us choice.
Yeah.
So if I want to pull in my direction, he's going to let me.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to be free of the consequences of my direction? No. But he's going to let me.
Mm-hmm.
So I want for us to pause and really think about how many ways am I trying to control people and situations in my life that I have no business trying to control.
But let me ask you a question. Where does this obsession with control come from? Why are we so obsessed with being in control?
Because we're afraid.
Because we're motivated by those three demons.
Fear.
Fear.
Shame.
Shame.
And guilt.
And guilt. Good evening and welcome to another Monday Night Live. Because if it's Monday night, you are live with KW
and Jay.
There he is. How are you all doing this evening?
Fantastic.
Pretty great.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hey, it's Monday. And if you have been with us for a while, then you know on Monday we celebrate. And we have to find something in our lives, something on this Monday to celebrate. So, what are you celebrating tonight, Jimmy?
Well, my our youngest daughter,
Yes.
Morgan, turned 33 on last Thursday. So
Awesome, awesome.
she's getting old. I'm like wine. I'm aging wonderfully.
Please wish her happy birthday from us.
I
Please
will.
wish her a very, very happy birthday. Doc, what are you celebrating today?
I am celebrating the marvels of modern science. Let me tell you exactly what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So since I have hit my whatever age that is, since I've hit this age,
I didn't know you to be bashful about your age.
I'm not. I'm just
Oh.
helping out the people online who might be a little bit bashful about theirs. But since I hit my 40s, my eyesight has not been as wonderful as I would like it to be. And so I am grateful that there is something called bifocals so that I can see. Because let me tell you, it is not promised eyesight. It can leave you, but but in all honesty though, I mean we have so many modern things that we can do as it relates to eye care and eyewear and all this stuff. And so I'm grateful to have that option.
I love it. I love it. Well,
what are you celebrating? There you go. There you go. We're gonna celebrate together. What about you, Pastor Taylor? What you
I'm celebrating my son, my last born, Zach. Yesterday he said, I want to go to the aquarium. And so, I asked Auntie, hey, is there an aquarium around here somewhere? And he went and he enjoyed. And it was fascinating learning from him. A megaton shark, something. And he kept asking them, but where is it? I said, we don't have that here. And just to see how he is learning and exploring and learning about the world. I'm celebrating that. That was exciting. That was really, really exciting. So it's Monday night and you're with us. Please welcome. Tell us what you're celebrating. Tell us what you're celebrating. I know Starimo is out there somewhere. Mr. Foster is out there somewhere. And whoever else is there, we would love to hear what you're celebrating. And we're so grateful that you're here on tonight. Somebody here said, celebrating, and we're so grateful that you're here on. Oops, sorry about that. Pastor Samuel is out there. Let me take that off. I apologize. That was me checking another device because everything doesn't come up on here. So what are you celebrating? Hey, what do we do here on a Monday night?
Before you move to that particular section, this is something I wanted to share with our viewers, in talking about this idea of celebrating Mondays. There's a quote that I came across that I shared with a couple of people today, and it gave the acronym Monday with the following definition. It said, M, maybe this day is not, O, one of your favorites, but N, never forget that every day you wake up is an amazing gift, and it's up to you to make it count. Ooh, and I wanted to share that with you guys because we have been emphasizing this idea about celebrating Mondays. And I know that somewhere along the line, somebody's like, why are we doing that? But the point is we got to make every day count. There is something to celebrate every day. And we're just trying to do that on Monday for you. Maybe you'll adapt it to the other days of the week.
Well, Pastor Nalon Samuel is on here and Miss Andrea Vida is on here. Welcome. Y'all are free to share with us and tell us what it is that you are celebrating.
Yeah. So on Monday night, we love to get together with people that, have a story to tell. And guess what? That person could be you tomorrow because we all have stories to tell. But we talk with people about their life, their experiences, the things that have been good, bad, hard, soft, the things that have made them who they are and have brought them to the place that they're at. And we also go shopping. This is your opportunity. Hey there, Dad. Good night, Brother Glenn. This is your opportunity to go on kwministries.net/shop and check out some of the amazing things we have.
Tell
We
us
all
about your
about
world.
a well-rounded therapy. We're all about a well-rounded therapy.
There you go.
There you go.
If you need retail therapy, we got it for you.
Retail therapy. There you go. If you were watching our ads before we got started, you might have noticed us advertising Her Journey to Healing, which is actually part of the products that we offer. And this is an online seminar that you can attend. So if you are a woman or there are women in your life that you think could benefit from a journey into finding out who they're meant to be through God, I would encourage you to check that out.
Everyone who has taken that seminar has shared how powerful and life changing of an experience it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I'm grateful to be here tonight. We have a very special guest. Tonight, we're talking about healing our city, and we are in the city of Shreveport. I am excited about our guest tonight. We met him at our church. He was receiving an award for his contribution to community growth and development. And so I am just super excited. Would you introduce our guest to us tonight?
So let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Robert Tyler. So he is a man of the Shreveport soil, advocate, scholar, veteran, visionary, born to Sheila Tyler and Robert Taylor III. His journey starts at Williams Memorial CME Temple. Community, spirituality, a huge part of his formative years. Early age, academics were a part of his experience, not just in the way that everybody's academics are a part of their experience, but our guest, Mr. Tyler, was honored nationally as an All-American Scholar in 2005. Amazing. A graduate of Booker T. Washington High School right here in Shreveport, 2010. He was actually introduced as a beau by the Top Ladies of Distinction, Inc., Shreveport chapter in the same year of his graduation, 2010. He went on to serve the United States Air Force, and he expressly mentions that a pinnacle point in his life experience has been the birth of his son, Riley, in 2017. And talks about him as a beacon. I got to read this for you guys. A beacon of hope and continuity for the Tyler legacy.
Ooh.
So if that is not enough for you, I just want you to know that self-improvement, definitely a part of Robert's story, went ahead after his military service, Associate of Applied Science and Medical Laboratory Technology from Southern University in 2018. And he has been at the forefront of advocacy in his community, advocate for social justice. He has, which includes one of the things, that major things that he has done, hosting marches, including on the grounds of Caddo Correctional Center, calling for transformative change and the upliftment of his community.
Mm-hmm.
He has collaborated with law enforcement, critical dialogue with the chief and deputy chief of police, advocating for innovative strategies to reduce violent crime that transcends traditional reliance on incarceration. And this engagement has highlighted his belief in the power of conversation and collaboration to effect tangible change. We love this. We love this.
This is the conversation we're
This
going to
is
have
the
tonight.
conversation we're about to have. So his influence has extended into the political arena. He was a part of the mayoral campaign for Levette Fuller here in Shreveport. And he currently is the vice president of Best 13, which is Black Economic and Social Transformation, again, right here in Shreveport, where he champions economic empowerment and social equity. He is also a member of the NAACP and stands as a vanguard of civil rights advocacy, working diligently to ensure the promise of equality for all. He has got a podcast. If you don't get enough tonight, there is more that you can have. His podcast is called That Ain't My Business, but let's talk about it. And this is where they spark conversations that challenge, educate, and inspire. We are so honored to have Robert Tyler with us here this evening on Monday Night Live.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Tyler, for being here this evening. I remember when I first met you, how impressed I was with the work that you do. But before we even get into that, let me ask you, what are you celebrating on this Monday, sir?
Well, on this Monday, I'm just celebrating the fact that I was able to wake up and, work another day, and God allowed me to do that because, everybody wasn't able. So
That's right.
that's enough for me.
That's
Amen.
true. That's true. That's true. Being and so many people take that for granted, not realizing that it's not always promised, and not everybody, like you said, gets to do it.
That's true.
Um, where did you get your love for community from? How did that come about?
Well, I think some of it was innate. When I grew up over here in like the lakeside area. So I won't say I necessarily had a hard life, but a lot of my friends that I frequented with, they it was pretty tough for them, and just me being amongst them, I felt obliged to, look out for them, but they looked out for us, me as well. So it was kind of like it was kind of like a camaraderie type of deal. So yeah, we always grew up looking out for each other, and as I grew older, I realized that like I was always pretty different in the sense that I'll give you an example. Like growing up, I went to I went to two different types of schools on every level of education. What I mean is this: in elementary school, I went to a Claiborne, like a majority, is a Magna majority white school, and I also went to West Shreveport. In middle school, I went to Caddo Middle Magna, and I also went to Hollywood. And in high school, I went to Huntington, and then I went over to Booker T. Washington. So just growing up throughout my life, I seen the differences in experiences from one side to the other, and it kind of it I gained things and became equipped with certain aspects for as like uh, intelligence and things of this sort. I'm not saying other people didn't have it, but what I'm saying was I was just more equipped with more knowledge. I'll put it that way. I was equipped with more knowledge, and I was seeing that I was able to, where I was seeing where people were able to manipulate conversations on my friends, and I was able to articulate things that they weren't able to, and that just kind of put me forefront as far as like taking up for people when it comes to like an intellectual space. Now, we also don't get me wrong. Growing up, I grew up in Lakeside, so when it comes to physical things, we got amongst those natures as well. But I just always felt like I was one with the people, so that's how that come about.
So
Uh,
Robert, so Robert, you would say that you were half hood, half holy. Pray for you. Don't play with you.
Right, right.
um, you said something. I know you have a question coming.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this real quick. I noticed you said your experience across. You have a wide cross section of experience based on the different schools that you went to, and you moved not just with people you grew up in within your own community, in your own local community, but throughout the wider expanse of Shreveport, and that gave you an appreciation for what different people went through, for what different people dealt with.
Correct, correct. And yeah, like and that's why everybody have difficulties. Like in this life, we tend to put our what we consider challenges to us like above others. But although it may be, that this may not be a challenge to you because we grew up in certain ways that we grew up, but you can't necessarily downplay the next person or what they consider as a challenge because they have a different experience and a different upbringing. I've learned to embrace everything and hear out everybody. So when I'm able to talk to older people and understand where they're coming from, even whether I agree or not, I'm able to listen and understand and empathize still. And that's with older people, younger people, and the generations on beneath.
So, kind of going with where you just stopped off with Mr. Tyler, I was really curious about whether or not there was a specific memory, something that comes to mind for you as one of the first really impactful events where you saw yourself, impacting somebody else's experience just because you had that broader lens. Can you can you remember an experience that really started this journey for you?
Um, it will probably be somewhere in the military. When I was in the military, like I say, I was surrounded by a lot of different experiences. Walks of life. So
Mhm.
when I was in the military, I would it would spark conversation, but and a lot of times, like I say, we didn't necessarily agree, because we come from a lot of different places. But at the end of the day, no matter what, we always had each other back. Like, we were always looking out for each other. There was nothing a person could do to turn us against our airmen. And and that comes with all the disagreements, all the fights and everything, no matter what. When it was time to put them our bootstraps on and do what we had to do, I've haven't experienced that like nowhere else yet, and that
So,
kind of sticks with me.
so Robert, how do we teach to have how do we teach in the community how to have those difficult conversations, that just because I don't agree with Robert doesn't mean that I don't like Robert, and that and vice versa, that it's not a personal attack against my manhood, against my womanhood, against my set, against whatever the case may be. How do we begin to engage in that type of conversation with each other, and so that it doesn't escalate to something else?
Mhm.
Well, first of all, somebody in that conversation has to have the wherewithal to really want a solution, and I mean
Mhm.
really want a solution, because it's going to get difficult. I was
Let me
explaining.
pause you for a second, Rob. Don't lose your thought. Hashtag. Someone has to really want a solution. Someone has to really want a solution. Thank you, sir.
All right. I was explaining to a lady from New Orleans. It was a lady from New Orleans and Jackson, Mississippi. They came up here last week, and they just walked around the neighborhood, and we were talking. And I was explaining how I had a conversation with a young man, and what the beginning of the conversation started literally with him cursing me out, literally.
Hmm.
So he was cursing me out, and basically he was telling me like, man, you don't understand, you don't know what we dealing with, such and such. And I just had to tell him like, I'm like, well, hold on, bro. I'm like, hold on, bro. Like, first off, understand this. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're coming from. Hear me out. I the 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 experience that he was speaking of, I'm just going to be blatantly honest. He was speaking of untimely death of a young man, and he basically what he was saying to me was, I'm I'm saying certain things because what I was doing, I was promoting a young man to try to his music, and they consider each other ops, quote unquote.
Ah.
Yeah, right. And I was telling her, I'm like, listen, bro, like I do get what you're saying. The young man that you're speaking of, surprise to you, that's my young friend. He's a young friend. He was around me a lot. I know exactly what you're talking about. But in order for this to stop, because you're admitting to me that this is really a scary thing for you. And a lot of people don't realize that anger is only a secondary emotion to fear.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, what you don't want to feel scared, so you have to be tough. But if you hear me out, you'll understand what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to uplift everybody. I can't I'm only feeding into the war if I exclude them for the benefit of you all. Now I want you all to benefit as well. just give me something to promote positive for you all, and I will
Mhm.
do the same for you all. And I
Mhm.
can show you that I'm not picking a side, and I want everybody to benefit. And to this day, I walk in their neighborhood, and the other people, I walk in their neighborhood.
Mhm. Mhm.
And like I
So.
told the news reporter, without a gun.
Mhm. Mhm. And how do you do that? How are you able to balance being in, you had that conversation with that individual, but how do you on a general level be able to move cool in all these different neighborhoods?
It's basically like this. And I talked to my cousin about this the other day. It's all about how you carry yourself. As long as you carry yourself in a respectful manner, and because a lot of these young dudes just never experienced love, real
Mm-hmm.
love.
Mm-hmm.
And when dealing with them, you have to come at a place of compassion. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, as as author as older people, we like to come from a place of authority. But me, for example, if I'm walking in someone else's neighborhood, I'm not the authority. It doesn't matter how old I am. I'm not the authority because they consider this their neighborhood, even though they don't own it. But they consider this their neighborhood. So I have to operate like that. I have to respect it. You right? So when
Right.
I'm going in, if somebody's like, if I see people say I gotta walk up a flight of stairs, and it's a group of young males down there, and they may be what some people perceive as, thugs or whatever. I don't consider them thugs, but let's say people say that's what they are. I'm gonna simply do the same thing I always do to anybody. Excuse me, can I get through? Excuse me, partner. I may tap them a little. Hey, excuse me, man. Can I? You know, I just it's a lot of people don't understand. The most hardened criminals, even in jail, they have manners because that is what get that's what causes the most issues in jail. If you see somebody talking, you don't interrupt them. You say excuse me, things of that sort. So all you have to do is show respect. I show respect, and I build relationships with the quote unquote big dogs. So I build relationships with those people. So if it is an issue, I can come to them and say, look, man, and I'll give you prime example of conversation I had. I called a big dog in one of the most treacherous neighborhoods in the city, and I called him. I say, look, I don't want to know your politics. I don't care what's going on, but I need you to tell me that you can deaden this situation for me. If you can't, just let me know. I'll figure out another avenue. But if you can, let me know. And it got handled because
Respect.
respect. That's the key. Respect and love. Because like I say, a lot of times these young people never experience love. So when I talk to them, I'm careful to show them. Like I touch people. I touch their shoulder. I want you to feel that I'm coming from a place of genuine compassion. So long as you can feel that, and I'm not trying to just boss you around or tell you what to do or act like I'm trying to be your parent because I'm trying to be your daddy because he never. Some of these people, not everybody, but some of them never had a daddy. So you're not finna be my daddy now,
Right.
right? So I just I just understand all that, and like I say, I'm an empath, so I'm empathetic to it, and I use those tactics because it's not to my advantage because this doesn't this it benefits me when everybody benefits, but it's more for the people because uh I'm getting no real. I'm getting no substance like no concrete anything monetary out of this. None of this. None of what I'm doing is for none of that because I don't get any of it from it.
Mhm.
But what it does do is it makes the neighborhood safer. If my grandma want to go outside and just sit outside in the rocking chair, or my auntie that who had a stroke, if she want to come outside and it takes her time to walk, you know, if she, it, I don't have to worry about rolling gun battles and things of this sort. So as long as even if it's um say we're not stopping it, but as long as we can knock a dent in it, whether there's one person not being dead or 10 people, whether
Hmm.
that's one shooting that we just stopped or 10, like no matter if we can stop one, I feel good about what I'm doing.
I mean,
Absolutely.
even if we can delay one,
Right.
even if we can delay one,
Hmm.
that would be a blessing.
We
And
had a
what?
comment come in.
Oh yes. One
Sorry,
second, Jimmy.
Pastor Jimmy.
No, go ahead.
Hilbert Glenn said, whenever you're in an area where there's a lot of problems and you can show some sort of solution to whatever is happening, people will be drawn to you because everyone needs someone to care. And I think he was saying that just in the context of your response there, where you were talking about the way to start this is respect,
Respect.
love, compassion, treating people with respect, having empathy, and fostering relationships.
And foster a relationship. Go ahead, Jimmy.
That was just the last what I was going to add, Kamala, is that it's about relationship, and I think Robert, you had mentioned it that even the hardened of the hardest, crave and look for relationship
Mm.
in some aspect, and to be able to touch and be able to connect to that relational with the empathetic, sympathetic, and not some condescending I'm or authoritative look that I'm lording over you and all this other stuff. And I think that is a key, and I appreciate that you brought that out, that it is about relationship. Many times that we can go into some neighborhoods. But if you have relationship, oh, they know that's Robert, the man. Hey, look, he cool, everything lovely. He's coming in peace, and so
Yeah.
Mhm.
it allows for that space.
Mhm.
Rob, I want to ask you. Both Jimmy and I are pastors, and my wife is a therapist. And so we kind of have a spiritual tone, emotional, healthy tone to the conversations that we have. And we try to be honest. And so I'm going to ask you something that I want for you to be very honest with us about. You're not going to hurt our feelings. We're just be honest with us because we want to be a part of the solution. Like when I first met you, I told you I want to be your friend, and I've been hounding you ever since then, right? So I'm serious about that. How does the street see the church?
Hmm.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go there.
Ugh.
And so when you answered in a two-part way, Robert. Tell us how they feel, and then if it's something that we could correct, tell us how do we correct it.
We're not there yet. Hold on,
Okay,
Jimmy.
okay,
I
okay,
want
okay,
for us
okay.
to do it
My
fair.
bad,
Yes,
my
you're
bad,
right. You're
my
right,
bad.
Jimmy. You know that's where we're going.
That's
But I
right.
want for you, I want for you to be as as raw and as crystal to us about how people view the church in the city of Shreveport.
Okay, well, um, I can't speak for everybody in
Right.
Right.
um I know I will say that when it comes to God, this is the South, and most people hold the Lord in Christianity in different forms of Christianity in reverence, in high reverence. Now, when it comes to the actual church in the streets, Well, a lot of people see it as a grift, and not only do they see it as a grift, a lot of churches like what you're doing here, how you're reaching out to the community. This is unseen, which is why when you asked me to come on, I didn't hesitate to say yes because this is not really this doesn't really happen much. Um, I will say this: what I hear the most is that the church not coming to the people. They want the people to come to the church, but they want the church to come to the people. So that's what I hear the most. Like, um, and to a certain extent, I agree because when I was in the streets, I mean, well, I wasn't thinking about we thinking about going to church. Only way you gonna put church on my mind is if you bring that conversation to me, right? So, I agree with it. I agree. Like, don't get me wrong, because don't think that even in the streets, conversations about God doesn't happen, because they do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but far as actually getting people into the church house, I I believe we have to expand ministry to the actual streets, and I feel like a lot of churches are afraid of people that they don't necessarily have to be afraid of. Like people even people that do bad things, they have negative aspects. That's not their whole person. A lot of
Mm.
times that's not even their. A lot of times that's not even who they are. You have certain people that's really quote unquote like that, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but the majority of people that are doing that are behaving in are going along with others to do these things. They're not. That's not them.
Yeah.
So it's plenty times you can. It's plenty different ways where you can engage these people, and you'll be surprised at the impact you may have
Yeah.
on them.
I hear you saying separate people from their
Behavior. Yeah.
actions. I hear you saying that loud and clear. And I'm really curious. We're talking about this idea of, you know, church needs to go to where the people are as
Mhm.
opposed to waiting for the people to come to them. But I'm also really struck by what you said before and how the way we approach has to be through authentic relationship.
Mhm.
And so I know sometimes, even with church, we can get the idea, all right, well, bet we got to go out on the street, but we still go not in an authentic way.
Right. We go in a churchy
We
way.
go and you got to fit my mold as
Right.
opposed to me meeting you where you are. So
Mhm.
if you could you talk about practically what do you think it could look like for church to really meet people where they are?
And that was Jimmy's question.
Well, I tell you what, the president of my organization is a man named MJ. He's from California. This is, and I'm not saying this is what the church has to do, but what I'm saying
No,
is,
no, we want you to tell us what the church has to do.
yeah, what I'm saying is that the church can collaborate in these efforts and become a part of, and get a broader base from collaborating with you. So I'll give you an example. Um, MJ, what he does is he will he will use what's going on in the city, mess, quote unquote, and he'll get everybody engaged. He get everybody engaged. They think he's funny. He talk crazy. I'm not gonna lie. He curses, right?
Mhm.
he get everybody on his live, and it's amazing because people haven't figured out the formula yet. They just go to the mess, right? But once he feel like he's peaked the numbers, he switched the message up, and then he start educating them. He start teaching them about. life, municipal governments, money, God. He talks about scripture. Um, he do various. He go through various different teaching aspects. He teach you about how the street mentality is a losing way of thinking. Um, you know how you have your own personal army, and that's with the police department. You don't have to handle things on your own. Um, and he just go through the different aspects, and I'm sure we can set up some type of engagement to where you all could come on when it's more along those respectable lines, when it gets towards the respectable part, and and we can engage like that. Now, actually, onto the streets, like I was saying, people people aren't as. It depends what people you talking to though, but you all you can do is try. I'm gonna say it like that. All you can do is try. You just go up, have normal conversations. Um, you know, I will give this. This he who feeds the people leads the people. So if there's some type of way where you could be getting you could be start maybe a breakfast program, food program, something like that, where people come eat things of that sort. Um, you'll grow engagement humongously because when I was younger, this church right here on the corner, we used to they always used to feed the youth. Um, and although we were out and we were doing all the mischievous things along with just playing, when it was time to eat, we were in the church. And those old ladies, they were teaching us, right from wrong in the same time that they were feeding us.
Mhm.
And things are like I say, because a lot of these, it's harder on this youth than it was because the parents of nowadays, they don't have the means to necessarily take care of their children and parent like they should. So either they're working very hard or they're turning blind eyes to certain things because they need the help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and where they're missing, like where teachable moments where we could be teaching people that those kids are missing out on it. And it's not that they won't receive it; they're literally just not getting it. Like
Mm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
not happening.
I have a
And by the
question.
time, and yeah, and about time they, I'm sorry, and about time
No.
they get, by the time I tell my child's mother this as well. By the time my child get a teenager, it's kind of late. That's when you got to be super hard because it's better to teach early and then you can relax later. Than to relax early and then think you finna come teach later because even scientifically neurological hardwiring is taking place.
Right, right. Talk to us about the innate danger of the work that you do, and how you. So, for example, Martin Luther King Jr. Was a civil rights leader, and he understood Malcolm X. So, when across religion, whoever civil rights leaders were, Mahatma Gandhi, um, they understood and accepted that there is a certain risk that comes with trying to be that comes with trying to lead people to a better life. Talk to us about your understanding of that risk. And then you said that the church is afraid or can be afraid of the people they don't really understand. After you talk with us to us about your own innate understanding of your own innate risk, talk to us about understanding and accepting that if we're going to do real work in reaching real people, then there might be some danger involved.
Well, I'm gonna put it like this. Fred Hampton, the chairman, he said, and Huey P. Newton as well. They said if you're going to be an activist or something, then you have to accept that you're already a doomed man. That's what they said. Um, do I necessarily think I'm doomed? I don't necessarily think I'm doomed, but I, me personally, I come from this, so it's not necessarily scary to me. What some people would consider threats, I don't necessarily consider threats. Growing up, when I was 14, 15, 16, I'm gonna say 14 until I woke up and decided to change my life. I done been in several events, bullets flying across my head. Um, I wasn't scared then. Just being
Mhm.
brutally honest, I wasn't scared. It was more of a roller coaster ride to me. Um, I, I just don't really think about those type of things. And I'm not coming for this. So now I'm more scared. I'm not scared, but I'm more scared of other other. I just said I'm gonna be brutally honest. I'm more scared of white people with money that wanna find tactics to get me out the way.
Yeah.
I'm more scared of that than I am of
Mhm.
my own people doing anything to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Robert, tell us. Well, I'm curious now. We've been talking for a while just about the work that is done, but specifically as it relates to Best 13. How did you get involved with that particular initiative, and how can the rest of us in the community get involved with what Best 13 is trying to accomplish?
Well, Best 13, basically, it was just a bunch of people who already was doing different work. We were already doing work out here, and we just decided to come together and collectivize our efforts.
Hmm.
Um, and what we do is we invite everybody to come join this so we can work together. And we tell people all the time, if you're doing something, if you're doing something for the community, see, we've built a lot of relationships with a lot of people. So if you're doing something for the community, is we 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 think it would be advantageous if you come partner with us, or either you can either partner with us or bring it under the scope, and we will help you, we will help each other. And that way, not only can we help each other, we can all get funding, we can help fund you, and we'll be able to push these agendas more effectively. But our main thing is we need an organized agenda. We can't just we can't just be together because we are black or whatever the case may be. Like, we need an organized agenda so we can be effective with the work that we do.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
What are some of the things that you have already seen coming out of this organization that you have had, and what are some of your hopes for the future with it?
Um, well, we've like I say, we've done a lot of credit repair, so we done got a lot of money with it. Not money to us, money to the people with it. We
This recent election.
Yeah, this recent election, we played a vital part in this election, and we got we were one of some of the main reasons. I don't really like to toot my own horn. That's why I wasn't going to bring it up, but we were the main reasons they got Chief Whitehorn in his seat. We plan on partnering with the city as well as the parish as well as the sheriff office to bring in different programs to the people. We have crime fighting initiatives. We have education initiatives. One of our main things that we're focusing on right now that we are in the process of strategizing for is getting 5,000 committed voters in every district, and that way,
That's
uh,
power.
right, and that way our elected officials will have to work for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that's our main initiative right now, so we can start getting the same things in our neighborhoods that's going on in in areas that they prioritize investing in.
Um, Jim, just jump on every time you're ready, Jim.
Oh, I'm soaking all this in, man.
Okay, all
No,
right.
I am. I soak a lot of it in. I'll chime in when necessary, though.
50 Cent has moved G Unit to Shreveport. How how will that how have you seen potential benefit for that for our communities specifically?
What I feel is this, and this is where my organization come in as well. We try to educate people on how to be prepared because we can't. 50 Cent isn't Jesus, right? So he's not coming here to save uh the world. What he's coming here to do is business.
Right.
So um if if but I'm not saying that that isn't a great thing. It's an amazing thing. But our people have to learn how to position themselves to be equipped to take on the roles that they want to take on. So main thing is this the same way we collectivize our efforts to create this nonprofit, if you we have people in the city like at Booker T. Washington, they train you in telecommunications, so they teach you how to shoot videos, edit, and things of that sort. We have many people in this community that know how to act. We got people with cameras, people with the computers. What we need to do is find like-minded people and collectivize our efforts, and we can create one big company, whether it be videography or things along that line, and
And then get
we can create
contracts.
bingo, and we can bring it all together and go get the contracts. That's how we have to set ourselves up. But the main thing is putting our petty uh differences to the side
Mm-hmm.
and coming together so we can jump on those opportunities, because if we don't, then it's harder. A lot of people think this. A lot of people like to say, I'm self-made, I did it myself all by myself, but there's nothing that you can do by yourself.
Nothing.
And I try to what is the greater story though? What is the greater
Mm.
story? That you fought, and then you finally got it, or that you and a
Legacy.
bunch of other people from your communities came together and y'all did this humongous thing that's never been seen before.
Mm-hmm.
What's the greatest story? I think if we all can benefit from it, and when I say we all, I mean all of those involved and their loved ones will reap certain benefits from them being involved. If we all can benefit from it, then I think that's the greatest story.
Mm. I love it.
Yeah.
Robert, I know that you said that, a lot of what you do, there's not a benefit that you're getting from it. There's not a financial gain, there's not accolades or any of that stuff. But I have to wonder, from a personal level, how does it feel to be involved with your community in this way, the community that you've been a part of your entire life?
Um, I mean, it's an excellent feeling. Which it makes me feel better to see other people feel better. I'll put it like that. I've growing up under with my mother always, people would call on my mother like she would always rip and run and do a lot of things for people. I never really understood it, but for some, I like that was a learned behavior. So I tend to do a lot of the same things that people call me. I didn't want to let them down.
Mm-hmm.
Even when
Mm-hmm.
I was even when I was doing the wrong things, it was because I didn't want to let people down.
Yeah.
So I just learned how to channel that energy into things positive, and I still got that sense of not want to let people down. Now I've learned how to create boundaries for certain things,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, like I say, if I see a person that I know, has kind of had it hard, and I done made them smile for that day, or I done made their week, or something, like they do something for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I love it.
Um, we the hour is gone. I don't know where it disappeared to. But you talked about if we could just get people to lay aside their petty differences. How do
Mhm.
we do that? How it's infectious. I don't know if it's I don't know I know the historical divide, the historical wedge that has been placed in the black community.
Mhm.
I know, but how do we get people to see the bigger picture of, yes, like you said, I can be delusional and believe that I can climb this mountain by myself, which no one has ever climbed any mountain by themselves. Somebody made that rope that they use. Somebody made the tools that they use. No one has ever done anything by it. So I can be delusional and think that, and we never really achieve anything. Or we
Mhm.
can do community. How do we get over those petty differences, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it goes back to what I was saying earlier when I said he who feeds the people leads the people. In my opinion, it. I'm gonna say it like this. Most people will put disagreements to the side for a game. So I will put it like this. When 50 Cent came in town, if I don't know if you've seen the party that he had afterwards, but me knowing the city, it was a lot of people in that room that can't stand each other guts.
Mm,
But they were in their room together and they behaved because they they saw that this could be an opportunity, right?
Mhm.
So I would say this: a lot of times, it you need something that people feel like they can gain from. Just as bad as that is, it's the truth. Like
Mhm.
if people got to feel like it's a benefit in them to do so, because I have no other reason to not like this person that I don't like, unless I'm coming out of myself and I'm not worried focused on me. I have a spiritual goal that I got ahead, right? Unless it's along those lines. But what most people, not most people, a lot of people are selfish in manner. And when it comes to especially changing the behavior, it has to be some type of selfish reason in there that will allow them to um change and work with somebody that they don't like. I'm gonna tell you. I won't say who said it, but a lot of times, a person that told me this, he said, "Man, you gotta manipulate people into doing what's best for them."
Yeah, and that's Jimmy. We're pastors, don't we know that's the truth?
Yeah. And it's got to, but to pick to pick it, Winston, more than we know. Um, One of the things that just popped into my head, Robert, is on the grassroots level. How has community active organizations and activists such as yourself engaged the city in economic sustainability and development in the communities, which in turn is as we're as we're providing better or doing better, how do we sustain that better, that it
Yeah.
doesn't, that we just don't get it for 2 or 3 years and then it's right back to where we back to square one.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that your organizations and other organizations like yourself are doing in terms of and engaging the city and the representatives to be able to develop some type of community sustainability aspect?
Well, the main thing of it is this: you have to structure yourself like a corporate grassroots. Goodwill, that's a nonprofit. The NFL, that's a nonprofit. Uh, Most of your entities that's making a lot of money, those are nonprofits. A lot of people think when you say nonprofit, that means you can't profit. That doesn't mean that. It just means that you don't personally profit. So I'm gonna put it like this. What we have to do is we have to find ways to finance the nonprofit. So I'll give you an example. Um, we're thinking about where we're trying to find a location to open up a store. So we'll have a Best 13 store, and that store will help finance the nonprofit in order to do what we need to do in the city. So we won't have to depend on steady getting grants and things from and monies from the city and the parish and things of that sort. So so when we get that store, it will be a community store. So if people on hard times, they may not necessarily have the money, but we're gonna bring credit back, and you can borrow on your credit.
Hmm.
And okay, well, you don't have the money to pay that back. Well, what do you have? We gonna work out things, to actually put these communities in better positions. And like I say, once we get that started, that'll be the driving factor as far as finance behind our nonprofits, and that'll allow us to sustain whether we lose support in uh, municipal governments or not.
Gotcha.
And you said earlier that you all want to, in all these districts, you want to target an X amount, 5,000
5,000
people
voters.
that will vote, and
Hmm.
will so that you're able to
Influence change.
influence change from the inside, which I think is crucial. It's 8:58.
It
We want
is.
to tell you all thanks for joining us on tonight. We are so grateful. We're grateful to you. In just recapping some things that I heard, respect.
Mhm.
Um, uh, as usual, we need people. People need people.
Relationship.
Relationships.
Relationship.
We
Yes.
can't do it. I was speaking with one of my former bosses, Robert, and what he was sharing with me, Kamal and I were both talking to him, Pastor Jones, and what he was sharing with us was that unfortunately we have not historically preached a relational gospel. We've preached a how to, rules,
Transactional.
transactional
Mhm.
gospel, but it has not been a relational gospel.
And in that, have lost the value of people. And I think that's what I heard Robert say, that people in our
Exactly.
communities are valuable and they have to experience that in their relationship with us.
And I heard Robert say clearly, stop being afraid of people. There's nothing to be afraid of. The people who y'all should be afraid of, y'all are running and hugging them. Stop being afraid of people. I heard that. But I also heard him quoting someone as saying you're going to do this work, and it doesn't matter where you do this work. Just understand that you're giving your life to the people, whatever that means, whatever that means. And then I also heard him say that and I didn't follow up on this because you asked the question right away, and I didn't want to go back. But Roberts clearly, Jimmy, and I don't know if you heard this, he clearly distinguished God and the church.
Mm-hmm.
There was a clear distinction, which speaks volumes,
Yes.
for us as a church. And so authenticity. And then he talked about the collective good. And so I had a whole bunch of takeaways from tonight. Kamala, oh, we're over time. Why don't you give us a quick takeaway? And I saw Pastor Reginald Robinson pop by. Thank you so much. Give us a quick takeaway. Jimmy, give us a quick takeaway, and then we'll give Robert the last word.
I would go straight to Jimmy. Mine was relationship.
Yeah.
That's my biggest takeaway.
I think that's the biggest takeaway.
Yeah.
My big thought for the night is relationship, that you have to build stronger and more
Authentic.
authentic, genuine, organic relationships.
So then, Jimmy, you and I are then now, we can't just leave here with that concept now. We have to go back to our individual churches and say, listen, we need to build relationship. We need to partner with Best 13. No, we can't be Seventh Adventist Church is not ours. We can't be a part of that organization, but we can partner with Best 13. I'm following up with dinner. I don't know if it's going to be tonight or tomorrow with Rob. My question to him is going to be, man, get me into those communities. Get me to meet some of those folk. Get me to do some of those grassroots work. And when we have to go back to our people with this message, listen, wait, communities, the community believe in God. They don't trust us. It's us they don't trust. We're the challenge. And so we need to align with God and figure out how we're going to do that. And then we need to go out to the people, and the people that feed the people lead the people.
That's right.
Robert, have the last word.
All right. Well, I want to thank you all for allowing me to come on this platform. And like I say, long as I think this is a big step in the right direction. Us having this conversation is huge because we get to actually hear from a person that like of the community because I'm still in the community. I'm still in all the spots where they say I shouldn't be, and and I'm building these relationships, and I'm not going to stop because I know I gotta meet the people. Not only do we gotta meet the people, we have to involve the people, and
Yeah. Yeah.
long as we keep the people involved and engaged, and they feel a sense of worthiness when it comes to like being here. They have they feel they have a reason to be on this earth and to walk this earth.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just a number. Then people can will will continue to stay engaged, and that's all we need. I don't. Everybody don't get it the first time when you say it to them. Sometimes medicine don't taste good, so they might spit it back out at you when you first give it to them. But if you continue on, and eventually it will be progressive, and that's all we can hope for, and that's all we can continue to strive for. And I believe, like I said on a podcast yesterday, I believe that this city is headed in the right direction, and I would love if we could partner with you all, and we can continue to, we can, because and that's another thing I want to say. Like, I sense the genuineness in you, like from when I first came to the church. Um, I I'm gonna be honest with you all. I haven't stepped foot in churches myself here lately, right? But when I stepped foot in you all's church, I felt the love, I felt the genuineness, and and I really was impressed by you all service and in the meekness that I saw within you all. And I don't want this to be the last time um, we communicate with each other. I do want to continue to build. I will be back at your church again, and and this was beautiful, and I want to thank you all.
Thank you, Robert.
Listen, if it's Monday night, you're live with K.
W.
And Jay.
Peace.